Hi there, my name is Susie Fogelson and I am from F&Co. And at F&Co, we help brands find solutions and strategies that make them relevant in today's food culture. And there is no more important place for a restaurant brand to be to find relevance than in social media, right? So let's talk a little bit about social media. First, let's level set. Who are the players? Obviously, Twitter, hugely important. The most popular place for restaurant chatter is Twitter. Then you have Instagram, then you have Facebook. But did you know that Tumblr is ever increasingly becoming an important place for restaurants to be marketing? Surprised to know this, and I think that's very interesting and worth checking out. When it comes to branding in social media, I find this is to be very challenging for a lot of restaurant brands, meaning the default from a social media perspective is to push out offers, LTOs, value messaging, and sort of just specific images of food and pricing. And I think this is a misstep. I think you absolutely need a call to action as part of your strategy, but you also need to remember that you are a brand first. If all restaurants are talking about are value-driven messaging, it's very difficult to develop loyalty among an audience and sort of stand for something. So know your food story, know what your unique position is, and express your brand to a certain extent along with the offer-driven messages. Naturally, everything you post should be about your brand, but it's important to just push stuff out that is just brand first and is just to be enjoyed and to surprise and delight consumers. And I think Taco Bell does an amazing job of this. On Instagram, they're visually arresting, very colorful, beautiful imagery, and there isn't one offer on Instagram. On Twitter, they're playing their card via GIFs, via short videos, and punchy short copy. Perfect use of Twitter. Facebook, they're more video-driven. So checking out Taco Bell, I think, is a great example, and not surprisingly, they're one of the top brands on social media. So let's talk about the players and who's winning and who's making it really work for them. NetBase did a study, and if you haven't checked it out, it's really worth it. They're a social media analytics firm, and what we learned is that 75% of all social chatter connected to restaurants is quick service. Not surprising there, right? They take it seriously, they really invest in it. Taco Bell, Wendy's, McDonald's, all heavily invested in using social media to drive Gen Z and millennial audiences, not surprisingly. But casual dining occupies about 15% of chatter, and fast casual occupies 10%. And I was surprised that fast casual was such a small percentage when we know that sector is on fire. But one thing important to mention about fast casual is that NetBase also measures something called BPI, Brand Passion Index. And not surprisingly, fast casual is the fast casual has the number one place within BPI of all sectors in dining. So why do we think fast casual is so hot for passionate users to communicate about? And I think that is because they're checking all the boxes in what matters in food today. And two good examples are what Chipotle and Panera are pushing out, which is all about transparency, all about the story behind the food. A lot of it is about farmers, growers, manufacturers, and providers, and they're just opening up the curtain for how their food gets brought to restaurants and how it gets made. And this is such an important factor in people's food decisions today. One other interesting factoid was Olive Garden. So we said Olive Garden's casual, obviously. They have 15% of chatter, but Olive Garden is in top 5. Why is Olive Garden top 5? One word, breadsticks. Their breadsticks are actually more popular than the mothership brand, which is kind of like that HBO Game of Thrones phenomenon, right? Game of Thrones has more followers and friends than HBO does. Well, Olive Garden has its breadsticks. So don't be afraid to push out a focus on a particular dish that you know has some traction or could become a little darling or a favorite. Don't be afraid for a great dish to potentially overshadow the mothership every now and again. Thank you.